prevail. Traders and farmers in the tea sector are counting heavy losses following the ongoing Middle East war, pitting Iran and other states, including Israel and the United States. Most ships have been forced to offload the tea, which is increasingly piling up at the Mombasa Port, even as officials say that the 10 nations within the region have lost almost 3.1 trillion shillings for the last 3 weeks, while 1 trillion shillings continue to be lost every week. And as the Tobias Chanji reports, Kenya is bearing the biggest hit as it accounts for about 3/3 of the losses.
This is Mombasa Tea Auction, the largest tea auction in the world, bringing together 10 nations in the East African. From the look of the traders' faces who've come for auction, something is amiss. The Middle East war has affected sales. Kenya exports 25% of its tea to Middle East, while 40% to Pakistan.
So in terms of figures, every week, more than 2 million kilos are coming out as unsold. Because if buyers buy those teas and they cannot ship them out, it means that they will be tying down their funds in stocks that does not add value, and tea depreciates with value. So in terms of value, every week we lose an average of $8 million, and for the last 3 weeks we have lost an average of $24 million because of the conflict in Middle East.
Towards the port, a traffic of trailers transporting sacks of tea is all over. Warehouses are getting stacked each day as these sacks continue to pile up. Nothing is really happening as space continue to be minimal. At the port, the cargo is being offloaded from ships back to the warehouses as the uncertainty continues.
Funds are being held. The buyers always, once you ship, that's when the buyers on the other end release their money. And cash flow is becoming a problem.
So we are reporting on what we have lost as a region, but it is important to note that Kenya is the largest producer of tea and export of tea in the world. So the country that bears the brunt of this current conflict is Kenya, because Kenya controls 75% of what is sold through the Mombasa Tea Auction.
On Friday, delegates of the East African Tea Trade Association held their annual general meeting where they registered their fears, particularly on Kenya, which has already lost the Sudan market. But what really is the solution?
Particularly Kenyan teas are not going to Sudan. The other countries in East Africa like Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda, Burundi are still shipping their teas to that end. So they're lucky a bit.
Because Africa, like in 2024, produced 804 million kilos. And in Africa, we are 1.4 billion people. So if every African could have consumed one tea bag, which is 2 grams per day, we could have consumed all the teas produced in Africa and imported some from outside.
But until then, the future looks bleak. Tobias Chanji, KTN, Mombasa County.
All right, and just an update of our top story this evening where there was a road crash